Section 10, God's Commander. Dawn of the fourth day. Anger, fury, rage is all I've got. Goddamn bastard. Serving memories are weird. Doesn't matter if they're from before your current body's age or after. Everything that ever happened to you while you were alive comes flooding into your head all at once. They're simultaneously your own memories and the recollections of a complete stranger. Facts you know to be true and lies no more real than a dream. I think that's why I remember. Why I know what I once did. I remember the end of the war, when I heard that Drishtadyuman's cowardly plot had succeeded, that my father had been killed. I remember when I heard that Bhima had cheated to inflict a fatal wound on Duryodhana, the oldest of the 100 Kaurava princes. Everything inside of me vowed then that I would make them pay. Rage. I swore I would exact revenge on them by any means necessary. So I chose to sneak in under the cover of night and murder all of my enemies in their sleep. You think that cowardly? Criminal? An affront to all that's good and just? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care! I was so angry I didn't care about anything else. I think that's when I threw away everything in me besides fury. I let my fury swallow me whole until I was nothing more than a beast. A vessel of pure rage. To put it another way, that was the moment when Ashvataman became no more than anger incarnate. So of course the peaceful scenery of the Krita Yuga only infuriates him. The sweet scent of pollen, the sun's gentle rays, the birds' happy chirping, his only response to it all is to grow ever more enraged. Everything he sees and doesn't see makes him angry, but the things that anger him most are those he sees constantly and never. He's always angry. Always angry.
Angie.
There we go. That takes care of the lost out-of-season Kali. I guess you can't even go to the Krita Yuga without running into at least one. You know, there were always some dumb beast up in the mountains who forgot to hibernate for the winter, too. I'd always hunt 'em whenever I happened to see one. There's no telling what sort of trouble a dumb beast could get up to. Clearing away otherwise unfair or impossible obstacles is just part of the job.
Thank you for saving me, God. It showed up so suddenly, and I haven't been praying since it's still Krita Yuga.
Don't worry about it. And I'm not a god, just a hired hand. Oh, sorry. You don't have to worry about that either. Anyway, you did great holding it together. I'm proud of you.
Oh man, I can't believe a god is patting my head. Are you a god too? Admonishment. You are late for the meeting. I had no choice but to come get you.
Oh, is it that time already? Sorry about that. Well, I'll see you later, son.
Oh, bye! Thank you again! Do you like kids?
Who can say? Otacon, I found a child. Hey, sorry I'm late.
I cannot believe you made me carry you with my wind firewheels.
Well, I had a great time. Thanks for the thrill ride. Of course, a lot of those thrills were more chills at the idea of showing up here late. I'm just a regular guy. I'm not nearly important enough to keep a mythological hero waiting, let alone a god.
Advice. There is no point saying what you do not mean. Besides, you're something of a mythological hero yourself now.
Anyway, I hate to steal the spotlight after showing up late to the party, but I've got something to discuss. I was hoping Ashwataman could help with this, but I guess he's not here.
Answer. I cannot predict his actions. Our master allows him to act freely. Thus I have no intentions of picking him up.
I guess I'll just have to talk to you guys about this then, if that's alright with you. Anyway, I noticed a little while ago that there's fewer sacred beasts in my area than there's supposed to be.
Query. You think it is them?
Probably. I'm guessing they have a way of surviving the big guy's noble phantasm. Don't you find it interesting, seeing how you overcame death yourself?
What? Don't be ridiculous. That's just reconstruction. It has nothing to do with the concept of death. I couldn't care less about it. So no, I don't find it interesting. Besides, I'm sure that guy there already knew. He just didn't say anything. Well, yes, that's true. It is almost certainly the case that they managed to escape to a safe zone. But regardless, the fact remains that interlopers who would interfere with the god's sandbox, his beautiful reign, have survived. That strikes me as a grave problem. A very grave problem indeed, no? There, as you can see, he agrees with me quite vehemently. Indeed, as Lokopala, whom he personally embedded with divinities. Surely you understand that much without the likes of me spelling it out, no? Now then, what do you plan to do about this?
Well, I had just been planning to point Ashwataman in that direction and let him go nuts. But if he's not here, he must be off on another job.
Yes, that he is. I believe he's dealing with a little unfinished business on our end.
I guess that means we'll just have to take care of this ourselves then.
Proposal. I will go. Not only do I have time to address the issue, but I also let them escape once. I will finish this.
Do you want some help?
No need.
Great. Less work for me.
Just to be perfectly clear, I'm not going either. I've got plenty keeping me busy. Response. I never expected you to come. Departing now. Wind fire wheels!
What a go-getter she is. How wonderful.
What a pleasure to see such world-class mobility in person. I'm sure you won't let us down, Kubera, Regent of the North. I finally have another chance. I have changed then. I have changed since then. Resolution. I will not let them get away this time.
Damn. So we can't even get close to God's Sky Boulder. And here I thought this would be our big breakthrough. I was hoping we would find a way to take Arjuna down there. So much for that.
I knew it. I knew this wasn't gonna work out. It never fails. On the rare occasion I ever actually try to put in a little effort into something.
Whoops.
I just end up getting reminded of what a failure I am. That's pretty much me in a nutshell. Waste of space. It's not your fault it didn't work out, Ganesha. None of us expected there to be that many Kali there. Exactly. Moping won't do you any good, hon. Let's try to stay positive, Kay? Well, there are limits to that. And getting past those limits is what separates the children from the grown-ups. It's like remembering to be grateful for the things you already have. That's a pretty important ability in my book.
Fo!
For my part, I was essentially fighting this battle alone until all of you came along. Now there's a chance, even if it's just a small one, for us to go on the offensive. I think that's progress in and of itself. Why don't we rest up for a while? Maybe that will help a good idea come to us. Lady Lakshmi, welcome back. Thank you for standing guard. Anything to note? No, everything has been the same as usual here. I see you're all armed here, unlike Ajay and the other people in Bichu. I guess those rumors about you fighting the Kali off instead of just praying were true. You must be Lady Lakshmi's companions. Yes, that's right. I'm afraid Lady Lakshmi had to explain to us many times before we understood, but eventually, we realized that there is something strange about this world, and that we didn't like it here.
This has been the way things are for as long as you've known. I'm sure it wasn't easy to see them differently.
I think I once had someone I loved more than anything, but I can't even remember their name or their face.
Whoever it was must have been killed by a Kali in a past yuga. Anyone who Arjuna considers defective, unnecessary, or evil disappears when a new yuga begins, as if they never even existed. But it makes sense that it would be exceptionally complex to adjust every single parameter in the world that pertain to the people who disappear. I guess not even Arjuna can completely erase their remnants. The holes they leave behind in their hearts are the people who cared for them.
Some of us realized they lost someone when they saw the gifts their loved ones gave them in their homes. At first, it only feels like something is vaguely off, but in time you start to remember them more clearly, especially if they left behind any letters, which some did.
Oh my, that's surprisingly careless of him, leaving behind so many physical records like that. Although, maybe Koyunskaya is the one behind sadistically cruel touches like that. I wouldn't put it past her.
Man, only being able to half remember someone you cared about sounds rough. That's way worse than Asha just forgetting about her dog. Yes, it's painful not being able to remember someone who once meant so much to you. Unbearably so. That's why I decided to fight back. I think everyone else in our village more or less feels the same. Lady Lakshmi is the one who taught us how to fight. Any friends of hers are friends of ours. Please, come inside. We don't have much, but you're welcome to.
I appreciate the kind offer, but it's better if we stay out of your village for now. Indeed. Oh, and don't misunderstand, we're very happy to accept your invitation. But we can't very well bring along another guest who is definitely not invited.
Update. Target spotted. Neja! Warning! Do not call me that. You may know another Neja, but I am not her. Yeah, she's right. This isn't the Neja you know, or the one we came here with. She's still Crown Prince Neja, Marshal of the Central Altar, but this one serves Arjuna as one of the Lokapala. So that is one of the false god's servants. The rumors I've heard say they like to brag about how he shared his divine power with them. Affirmation. Yes, he has given each of us one of his many divinities. If he is a false god, then so are we. Conclusion. That is all I need to know. If you would refuse to obey his laws, then I cannot stand idly by. Assertion. Divine punishment is required here.
I guess we can't talk this one out then.
All right, Pepperoncino, this is your time to shine. You said she ran off to pursue you back at the mountain where you found Ganesha, yes? Then your job is to draw her attention away from us once more.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to work now. Last time she didn't see you guys as a threat. I don't think that's the case anymore.
Affirmation. That man is no longer my sole target. You are now all equally high-priority targets. I will not let any of you escape.
See?
But why? Even if you're a different aspect of her that was summoned or were embedded with a divinity, you're still Neja, aren't you? And the Neja we knew always had a strong sense of justice. In this world, the only measure of someone's value is whether God deems it worthy or not. He's the sole arbiter of what should and should not be. I think that's inherently unjust. It disparages the value in feelings, memories, life, and death alike. So then, how can you...
Oh my, that was certainly heartfelt. She really has learned how to express her anger. You are a product of mankind's arrogance and rationalism. So while I'm glad to see such emotion from you, it makes me a bit nervous. Your innocence was your greatest source of strength. Once that's gone, what will you have gained instead?
Neja, please tell me something. What do you think of this world? Answer unnecessary. Commencing attack.
We're not going down without a fight. Get ready to fight back, everyone. You've got it, Master.
I can't let you return to your false god now that you know about our village. Prepare to die. You do realize saying stuff like that totally makes you sound evil, right? Anyway, Neja's a figure in Journey to the West, and the investiture of the gods, right? I think some people also call her Naja. Oh man, I can't believe I'm up against someone so famous. But then again, I guess Ganesha's right up there too, huh? Alright, fine. I'll just put in a Pico effort, like usual.
Pico effort?
It's a word I came up with. It means my unusual willingness to try, my usual hopelessness, and my wish to avoid responsibility. It's basically all sorts of feelings rolled up into one big old mess, okay? Get with it.
How can she have so many noble phantasms? What's going on here?
I don't think those are noble phantasms. They're probably Baobei depicted in the investiture of the gods, so I can understand why she has them. But the Neja we knew never exhibited this kind of fighting ability. There's something else going on here.
She did say that Arjuna shared one of his divinities with her. I suspect the key lies there. This is no natural divine spirit amalgamation, like we've seen with Shitanai. This is a case of divine elements simply being fused into an existing being. As difficult as it may be to believe, if one of Arjuna's divinities is truly able to coexist with a servant spirit origin, that would indeed explain this remarkable increase in her power and abilities. Assuming he gave her one of the Lokapala regions tasked with defending different directions, I'd say Kubera's probably at the top of the list of possibilities. Kubera's the god of wealth and treasure, so that would explain why she has such an abundance of power now. Kubera? I've never heard that name before. Not well known in your neck of the woods, huh? Trust me, he's a very important god in India. There are all sorts of stories about him, but they all agree that he was the guardian of the north. He was also known as Dhanapati, the Lord of Wealth, and as Vaisravana, son of Vishrava. Though in Japan he might be better known as Tamonten or Bishamonten. Kubera, I think he was Ravana's half-brother. As I recall, he battled Ravana only to lose both the fight and control over the island of Lanka. And in that case, he has some connection to me as well. Or rather to Shita. Also, oh, maybe that's why he's such a good match for Neja.
Request, shut up. There is no need to explain. We are here to fight. Still, I will tell you one thing. The divinity of the God of Wealth does reside within me. Declaration. Therefore, this can only end in defeat. Oh crap, another OP item? No fair, she's decked out in legendary gear and I'm still in my starting equipment!
Gods have immense power far beyond ordinary beings. That's what makes them gods. If this Neja really has been given a divinity, it would definitely explain how she got so absurdly strong. But it's so sad I can barely stand to watch.
You've noticed too, haven't you, Master? That fight was clearly...
Neja, why?
That was an incredible display of wealth and fortune. It almost makes me envy you.
But... you took it too far. Even with all your abundance, you were spending it faster than you could replenish it.
You know, I thought the way you were burning through your items seemed familiar. You were doing it on purpose.
You went out of your way to use more of your power than necessary. You made sure to use so much that not even a god of wealth could recover from the loss. Why?
Kubera is the god linked to my father. Huh?
In China, Crown Prince Neja's father is known as Tuo Ta Li Chang Wang, aka Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King Li, aka Li Jing. And in Japan, Li Jing is considered to be the same as the figures I mentioned before, Tamonten and Bishamonten. There's a lot of cross-pollination between Taoist lore and Buddhist myth when it comes to gods like these, so it can be difficult to make sense of. But the long and short of it is that we can be pretty sure that Li Jing and the Hindu god Kubera are one and the same.
And I, of course, have a connection to my father. Confusion. There is something inside the jewel I hold in my chest. I do not know what to call these feelings I hold towards my father.
What does all that mean?
The details are a little different between Journey to the West and the Investiture of the Gods. But basically, Neja was born with tremendous power and wrecked a lot of things even as a baby. Her father acted in anger and fear, and Neja lost her body as a result. She was later reborn into a new being thanks to the Buddha and Taiyi Zhenren. Well, the real story might be more complicated than that, but that's an accurate picture of the central relationships. Plus, they say Neja's father is still afraid of her power, so... I am Crown Prince Neja, Marshal of the Central Altar. I am not Li Jing. It is therefore impossible for me to tell what I think and feel now that both beings have been combined within me. But I can be certain about this. It is not right for Li Jing to exist inside Neja. It is utterly preposterous. Truth, such a being can never be me. Truth, that is not how I am meant to function.
That's why you burned yourself out. You couldn't accept what you've become.
But why take such a, well, roundabout approach to suicide? Good point. If you wish to end your life, you could have done so any number of ways. For example, you could have fought back against the god who made you that way with all your might. Since he trusted you enough to bestow you with power, you should have had plenty of chances to attack him if you chose. I considered that, of course, but deemed it impossible. His divine power is just too great. And if I lost, he might decide to erase my consciousness for being defective. Then I would truly become nothing more than a puppet with Neja's body and Kubera's power. Conclusion, that would be a fate worse than death. If you ended up as a berserker, thanks to that violent side of you being the most prevalent in your manifestation, that would probably also mean that your feelings about your father are stronger and fresher than the usual Neja. Which would explain why you just didn't want to deal with it. Yes, I tried not to think about it at first. I buried my feelings deep down and did my best to forget them. But then, I saw her. Our Neja. The moment I saw her, it felt like I had been cursed. I was overcome with rage and hatred and envy, so much so that I couldn't stop myself from destroying her. I could not stand the idea of another me, a truer me, being out there. I could not accept it, but destroying her did nothing to lift my curse. I could no longer ignore my incompleteness. I could no longer stand how ugly I was. That's why I did this. Elaboration. It was not you who destroyed me. I destroyed me. I can't say I approve of what you did, but I do understand it. That is fine. If nothing else, I was able to avoid the worst possible outcome. For that, I thank you. But I will not apologize. The one to whom I should apologize is no longer here. Defects should just disappear. For the first time, I understand that logic. The defective Neja mixed with her father will disappear. That is how this should be. Salvation, I will not return in the next Yuga. You're a servant of that god. You have no right to say that. My lover is gone now. How dare you say they were defective? How dare you say they deserve to disappear? Apology. I have no way of knowing that. All I am saying is, for those of us ashamed of our defectiveness, getting to disappear can be a kind of salvation. Hang on, if you're really grateful to us, then give us some info before you disappear. It can be about anything. Arjuna, the other Lokopala. Oh, we want to know about the guide Skyboulder, too. That giant cube. Truth unknown. I know nothing about it either, nor do I know who might know something. Damn, I was afraid you'd say something like that. The Lokapala are servants that he has bestowed with divinities. If you defeat them, those divinities should disperse like mine is. So we can whittle down their forces by taking them out, huh? That's definitely good to know. Whenever we inevitably face off with Arjuna, not having to also fight 3 servants with godly powers at the same time will be a huge help. Can you tell us anything about the other Lokapala? Answer. Ashwathaman is a special case. He goes around on his own, fighting battles in place of Arjuna. The others watch over different regions. They sometimes assemble under Arjuna's orders, but in general, they keep to their assigned area. There are only 3 Lokapala, so each one covers a wide swath of land. I do not know what happened to the gods who were originally meant to guard the different directions.
There are supposed to be 8 different Lokapala, one for each cardinal direction. I wonder if their divinities are still inside Arjuna because he doesn't need them. What do all of you Lokapala do exactly? And which directions do you oversee?
Answer. We watch over people, guard against revolt, and take care of the sacred beasts. My territory stretches over everything from the north to the southeast. The old man handles everything from the north to the southwest. And the young man handles everything from the southeast to the southwest. The old man is William Tell, an archer, and the young man is Asclepius, a caster.
William Tell, Asclepius?
Sweet, we got their true names. Times may have changed, but he's still one of the most famous archers in history. Maybe we should look for a few apples he can shoot off your head.
As a rule, servants are usually summoned in their prime. So his middle-aged appearance must be because that time in his life is when his skills were at their peak.
And then there's Asclepius. That must be the servant in the hood. He was one of the Greek heroes who sailed on the Argo. He's known as the father of medicine, and he's still worshipped in some circles today. Interestingly, neither of these heroic spirits have any connection to India whatsoever. But now they've been given the divinity and power of Indian gods. I wonder what effect that's had on their abilities. Answer: unknown. I never paid much attention to their abilities. I did not need to. Oh. Report. I have reached my limit. Outsider. No. Master of Chaldea. Maybe we will meet again someday. And if we do, let it not be this defective version of me. I hope it will be that other, pure me.
Bye, Tan-Nasia. Just because a servant is given divine power doesn't necessarily mean they'll see it as a good thing. If anything, it was that power that made her see herself as defective.
Yes, even servants are no exception. Knowing what you need, what you don't, what to keep, what to discard. I think everyone has to decide those things for themselves, because no two people are exactly alike. It's no one else's place to unilaterally choose them for you. Not even a god. You had every right to say what you did to that Lokopala. I can more than understand your anger at someone desiring to cut themselves off from this world after they've been going around doing the same to others. All I'm saying is that the ones serving the god have their reasons as well. As that girl there just said, it's not right for a single entity, even a god, to make decisions for the entire world. Yes, you're right. Besides, the most important thing is that you and your comrades succeeded at defeating one of the Lokopala. This is cause for celebration. I will go tell the others.
Well, not only did you defeat one of the Lokopala, you even learned the true names of the other two servants. This is a most welcome turn of events, Gouda. It feels like the car infuriatingly blocking our way moved aside and we finally got to floor it and leave them in the dust. Now we just have to keep up our momentum all the way to the finish line.
You're really not very good at gauging the mood, are you? We're not exactly celebrating here. No, wait. My god's power is telling me what's really going on here. You did gauge the mood here and just ignored it. Neats like me aren't too good at that sort of social stuff. Though I guess you could also call it a pretty minor skill.
Would you mind not psychoanalyzing me right where I can hear you? Especially when you're going to be so spot on. As the commander, I merely offered my assessment of the present situation.
A servant doesn't get to choose who summoned them. While this was very unfortunate for Nasia, it worked out for us. If she hadn't purposely worn herself down, I don't think we could have avoided taking some heavy losses.
I agree. It doesn't feel like we won so much as she let us win.
Nasia was a special case since she just happened to have a special connection to the Indian divinity she was given. I don't think we can count on anything similar happening with the local Pala who don't have any ties to India. Agreed. Ashwataman was a significant threat, even when we were only trying to get away. His regenerative abilities and his immortality were both on a scale I've rarely seen. As for the other servants, we should assume they're at least as powerful as Nasia would have been if she had made better use of Kubera's power, if not more so. Yeah, the next one we face might not be this easy, but we'll figure something out.
That's it? I can't tell if you're deliberately trying to stay positive or just a hopeless optimist. Still, if nothing else, at least we have made a bit of progress. Eliminating one of the divinities under Arjuna's control is a victory no matter how you look at it. Though of course, it's still too early to say how much value or significance this victory portends. Actually, now that you mention it, I think I do feel a little lighter. That indescribable pressure we felt hindering us in this world. That strange feeling that something is off that's been preventing us from finding our footing. It feels like it's not quite as bad now. It seems safe to assume that eliminating one of the local Pala has improved the state of the world somehow. Needless to say, if we're going to defeat Arjuna, we'll need to reduce his overwhelming power and find a way to draw out more of our own. If eliminating local Pala can achieve both at once, that would truly be killing two birds with one stone. Forget birds or stones, at this point that looks to be our only possible path to victory, period. So I guess we'll just have to make our way down it a little bit at a time. Journey of 1,000 miles and all that. In other words, our next course of action is to try and take out all the other Lokapala. And luckily, we now know where we can probably find them. Sure, they may just be very general directions, but it's still better than having no lead at all. Plus, I bet the towns and villages in those areas will know something. Sounds good to me. According to Nasia, Ashwataman moves around freely on his own, so going after him won't be an option. So the question is, who do we pursue first? William Tell or Asclepius?
That is a no-brainer. The archer is clearly the higher priority target.
Oh? And why's that?
Isn't it obvious? We can't have him sniping Gouda now, can we? He's the cornerstone of our whole operation here, after all. I may be personally blessed by the goddess of fortune, but Gouda there is the one holding the key to our victory. Therefore, we should take out the archer first, to eliminate the risk of Gouda being taken out at a distance and ensure his safety.
I understand how you feel, but I'm not so certain the choice is so clear-cut. We shouldn't let our king rush headlong into danger just because we're wary of their rook.
No, I understand. It's a question of who has the greater advantage. The fact is, we currently have no servants who excel at mid to long-range combat. Every member in our current lineup is a close to mid-range fighter. If we were to go after the archer first, we could end up struggling to pin him down, only to have him really throw a wrench in the works by calling in reinforcements.
Agreed, that is a distinct possibility.
Casters, on the other hand, tend to be excellent mages, but they're certainly not known for their prowess in battle. Being an excellent mage doesn't automatically make you an excellent warrior, after all. No, most casters fight by laying cunning traps and collecting information outside of battle to stack the deck in their favor. So in a head-to-head brawl, they're likely to fall one step behind compared to an archer. If we can drag them into such a brawl, we should have a good chance of defeating them. Essentially, our goal would be to reduce the enemy's forces by going after the weaker opponent first.
That would leave the archer's threat looming over us, but that has been no less true all this time. I believe we can minimize the risk by taking measures against any attempts at sniping and eliminating the caster as quickly as possible.
Then it's settled. We'll go after the caster first.
I can't believe it.
What can't you believe? As a fellow chubster, I demand an explanation.
Hey, I'll have you know that I only have all this extra weight out of respect for Ganesha. Anyway, I was just surprised that you were acting like a decent commander for once. You really do know the differences between servant classes, don't you, Gachi?
Gotchi? Does that mean she thinks I'm like Coral Gotch, the undisputed god of pro wrestling? That's a rather elegant nickname you've come up with me for there, young lady. That I appreciate. But to be clear, I've been studying this sort of thing ever since I knew I was going to be the next director of Caldia. After all, it would be quite the farce if Caldia's top brass didn't know the first thing about its crucial heroic spirit summoning system. Now, isn't that right, Kyrie Light?
Yes, Director. I know you've been studying diligently every day since we left Russia.
What? No, I've known these things all along. I'm nothing if not a capable commander, after all. Regardless, I now easily know just as much as a newly minted master. Furthermore, I've also taken another look at Guda's reports. By this point, I can quickly calculate each class's traits, the cost of summoning a given servant, and the amount of strain placed on the nervous system by the Mystic Code. With just one hand and a common pocket calculator. Incidentally, Gouda, you'll be getting hungry in about 3 hours, so make sure you have some rations ready to go.
He's even calculated the rate Master burns calories.
Yes, very impressive. Now can we get back on track? So we'll be going after Asclepius first. Neja said he's in charge of the south, but how do we go about finding him?
I am told there is a town in the south. If his job includes keeping an eye on the people in this region, there's a strong chance he'll show up there. In that case, we should probably be able to ask someone in this village where to find it. Okay then, sounds like a plan to me.
Good. All right, Gouda. Your next mission is to head south, find the caster Asclepius, and defeat him.
Oh, and don't worry. Yours truly, the beautiful Miss Da Vinci, will be holding an extensive lecture on Greek heroes to give you something to listen to on the way.